Well, Kevin, thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations on your election to the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, getting set for induction into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame next month. What does the honor mean to you?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, it's a great honor. It was something that I wasn't, looking forward. I wasn't looking toward it because I think I played my last game in 2000, so it's 25 years ago. So I think I'm a late inductee, one of those guys. But yeah, it was great to get in. It's a great honor. It's a lot of good hockey players in the United States and a lot of good guys. I looked up to all these guys. They played, a lot of U.S. tournaments and a lot of. I love playing for the United States, so that was something. I like I said, I wasn't looking for the induction. It just kind of came as a surprise, but it was a great honor.
Kevin, looking back to your career when you were first starting in the National Hockey League in Pittsburgh, when did you feel like things were starting to take off?
I was kind of a late bloomer. I played on the Olympic team in 1988, and that was a big jump. I was at Boston College, and I scored a lot of goals there. But I think when I went to the Olympic team, that's where I kind of took off because I learned how to really skate better. We skated for 3.5 hours a day for 8 or 9 months before the Olympics. Had a great skating coaches, and when I got to Pitt, I was always a goal scorer, so I had that kind of tag on me that I could score goals. And I think the biggest thing, Judd, is when you have that tag of scoring goals, you get to play with good centermen, right? I think that's the most important thing is where they put me. Sometimes guys come. I started out on the fourth line just like anybody else, and I worked my way up to play with some great centermen. But it just helps that I was able to get that opportunity to play with great centermen. And we started once I got to Pitt that first year. I was up and down a little bit, but Craig Patrick was building that team. There was some good part. Obviously, Mario was there, so he was a big part. But he was putting some pieces together, and probably in the late '80s, early '90s is where that's where my career kind of took off.
I do want to dive into your career in Pittsburgh, obviously, but you mentioned Boston College, so I want to go back a little bit. Obviously, you're a local kid, grew up in Pembroke, and you went to BC, got drafted in '83. How much did your career at BC set you up for success?
Yeah, BC was great. Like I loved going to BC. Back then, it was all mass kids going to BC, so I basically went there with all my friends. We just moved into a dorm and we played with each other because back then there was no Canadians at BC. There was just all mass guys, all the guys that I played with and I grew up with. But it was great there. I loved Boston College. I loved the experience. We had great teams and great players. I think like anything, the better players you play with, the better you become. You just kind of grow together at every level you're at because you want to stay and you want to play. So you either got to produce or you don't play. And that was the same thing at college. And I was lucky enough to play with some great players here too. And it was just a great stepping stone. I love Boston College.
So if memory serves, that's when the nickname Artie finally stuck for you. I guess this is a two-parter. Does your mom still not like it? And what was your dad's reaction?
Yeah, my mom never liked it. That was kind of like she named me Kevin. She thought Kevin was a pretty good name. He said Artie's not the name she was looking for, but it was an easy thing. It stuck, man, to that stick at Boston College. I think Neil Shea gave me that name, and it's just I think it's just an easy name to say. It's stuck, and I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know why. That's what everybody calls it. But people I don't even know start calling me that, Judd, that's when I know I'm in trouble.
Well, well, I know a lot of people obviously look at your career in Pittsburgh and, obviously incredible numbers and the back-to-back 50-goal seasons, 2 Stanley Cups. And of course, there's the guarantee, right? In 1991, after going down 2-0 to the Bruins in the playoffs, I think a lot of people are familiar with the story, but just take us back to that time. You lose a tough one to the Bruins and you're down 2-0. And then the media, they come to you and then more people come over because they're hearing what you're talking about. You make a guarantee you're going to win 4 straight. Take us through that.
Yeah, that was more of, honestly, that was more of just being so mad. I remember we're in that game too in the Garden. We were up 5-3, and they called a couple penalties on it. They put us 5-on-3, and I think Neely scored. They tied it. You guys tied it 5-5, and it was like, and then we're going into overtime. We're mad. I'm mad that it's 5-5. Then Ruzicka scores a goal in overtime, and I'm like 4 feet behind him, and I see the puck go in the net. I'm like, oh, it went over the line by about 4 inches. I couldn't reach it. I was so mad after the game. I think any reporter came to me. They just came to me at first because I had my whole stall was destroyed anyway. So it was kind of like, let's get over here and see what Steven says. Another stupid comment, and that's basically how it all unfolded. I made the stupid comment that we're going to win. I felt we were going back home, so I felt we could win we'd win the next 2 games at home, and then after that it was a crapshoot. But we were able to do it. It wasn't something that I planned. It was kind of out of just being so mad about the game. I said we're going to win the next 4 straight, and everybody ran with it. So thank God it worked out. But it was. I was confident we could win our 2 games at Pittsburgh. Then we'll see what happened after that, because they say it's never really over till you get that loss at home after you lose 2 on the road. So we always played well in our Stanley Cup years. We always lost that first game always, and so we always battled back from that. But we getting down 2-0 to the Bruins. That was a lot of work. We had to put our nose to the grindstone there.
Were the emotions in that series a little bit different for you because you're a Pembroke kid?
Yeah, they always are. Anytime I ever came back to Boston, Judd, it was something special. It was always coming into that Garden. I think Game 5 was the best game I ever had. I scored 4. The series was tied 2-2, and I had 4 goals that night in the Game 5. I had 3 in the first period. So that was a big one. That was the one I'll remember forever the rest of my life, because when the series was tied 2-2 and you want to have a big game, and we came out flying that night and we were able to get some bounces, and playing with Mario and Yaga, you just had not a bad swing and miss playing with those 2 guys.
Kevin, you were power forward, right? And it just brought the physicality and just the whole package. How did your game evolve into that?
Yeah, I just kind of played that way. There wasn't really, once I learned how to skate. When I first came in, I played with Johnny Cullen, who was a phenomenal centerman, like a great passer, just a little guy, but a battler and really in it. And anybody I ever played with always wanted the puck. Like, I didn't really want the puck that much. I wanted the puck when I could shoot it and score. But all the good centermen, they always want that puck in the neutral zone. So the biggest job that I had with all those guys was get them the puck in the neutral zone. They get the offensive blue line, and they told me just to drive the net. If they don't come to you, I'll slide it to you. If they come to you, you give me a lot more room, or you give me some room on that blue line. All the good centermen they want time, right? They want time and space where they can get over that blue line and have a little bit of time to make the right play and find the right guy. And the power forward thing is just playing the way I know how to play. I just drove the net, and I tried to get in on the forecheck and play the body as much as I could. So it just all came together. But it really comes with playing with the right centerman.
But Kevin, as you say that, I think there are a lot of people that are under the impression that you could throw anybody out there and they're going to get 50 goals playing with Mario Lemieux. Yeah. So what did you have to learn, and what do guys need to learn about playing with guys who think and play at that level?
Yeah, you got to think the game quick, and what the biggest thing, Judd, is they can pick and choose who they want to play with, right? So that's basically how good these guys are. So you have to be ready to play every single night. It's not. The first 2 years I came into the league, they put me with Mario. I couldn't play with him, because he always wanted the puck. He was never open, but he wanted the puck anyway. So it was kind of like, okay, where do you want me to put the puck? If you're not open, he says, just shoot it at me, So they always want the puck. They're demanding that way. But that's what you got to be really ready to play. Like every game, they want to get 6 points every game. Those guys, Gretzky was the same way. They want you to be ready to play, and sometimes they have the option. They are that good that they don't have to pass you the puck. They can give it to someone else. If you're not going to score, they're not going to give it to you. So it's kind of, and if you go a couple of games, I see some of these guys going 10, 15 games without scoring. I wouldn't be out there with Mario if I went 10 or 15 games with scoring, because he'd make the change himself, and that's just the way it was back then. There was a lot of pressure, when you were on those top lines to score, and I think that's big because you need to be ready to play, and it's an honor to play with those guys, but you need to be ready to play every single night.
You have 5 teams on your resume, Kevin, and obviously the trade to Boston. A lot of Bruins fans remember that, and I remember being like, "Wow!"
Yeah.
What was going through your mind at the time?
Yeah, that was a tough time in my life, I think. So that
Yeah.
was the only thing that kind of hurt that thing. And I would have loved to be in Boston, like but I had got hurt, and then some of the stuff that happened. Everybody knows off ice stuff, whatever stuff was happening, and it wasn't the best time in my life, which is kind of hard because I wish I could. If I could look at it now and I could do it all over again, I wish I could, but I can't. Right, so you can't do that, but yeah, it was an opportunity of a lifetime. I wish it would have been better, but life goes on. But yeah, it was being a Bruin was something I always wanted to be. And then when that opportunity came, it was nice, but it didn't turn out as well as I hoped it would.
Kevin, I guess with that in mind, even though that season didn't work out the way you wanted, was there a story or two that you enjoyed playing with guys like Raymond Bourque, Cam, Adam Oates,
Yeah,
all those guys?
yeah, I was. I looked up to those guys. Even when I played in Pittsburgh, I always followed the Bruins. The Bruins were a team that I was always a Bruins fan. I grew up in Pembroke. I grew up in the Bobby Orr era. I loved the Bruins. I used to come in and watch, TV 38 at 7:30 when, my mom used to ring the bell. Those are the days we sat around that TV. There wasn't cable. There wasn't all this stuff. We sat around and watched the Bruins, Johnny Pearson, Fred Cusick, Derek. We watched, that's what we did. And Neely and Bork and those guys are such great players and great pros. I played against them so many times in the playoffs there. It was like I kind of knew those guys upside down. I saw them a lot in the summertime, so it was nice to get there and finally play with them. It was and they're great players, and we battled for a long time.
And Kevin, you've talked about the injury in '93 in the playoffs, and obviously such a serious injury. And you've also talked about the subsequent addiction to pills after that, and how that became a big part of your story. Um, I know now. You have your own nonprofit called Power Forward, and it's doing such great work. Just talk about your journey, obviously going through what you went through and to come out on the other side of it and continue that fight today.
Yeah, it was that was a tough time. Like I said, I was 20 years old. I didn't know even what addiction. I had no idea what addiction was, or people could get addicted to things. I never did a drug in my life. I never even knew what they were. And I saw I got the pain pills, and it was a little bit of cocaine there too. So it was kind of like it kind of all hit me at once, and I didn't really know like what was going on, but I knew it wasn't right. Something wasn't feeling right. My body was, it just kind of snowballed, and it kind of like, because like I said, I didn't know anything about what addiction was or progression, how you could get addicted to things. I didn't even know any of that stuff, and now I do. And I knew that I was addicted to that stuff, and it took me down. Like you can see, there's 7 good years and this injury, and the 7 years that were a struggle, a real struggle, and a lot of pain, a lot of people in pain. I was in a lot of pain through myself, and today it's all good, but it didn't happen like overnight. There was a lot of tough times in there, and I was able to come out the other side. But it was tough. It was obviously no one wishes they would have that happen to them. I didn't know that I had this gene, and that's what I have, and now I have to deal with it every day. Which today life's great. It's all good, but it took a long time to get here.
That's fantastic news that things are going well for you. But for people who want to get involved with Power Forward, how can they do it?
I have founded powerforward25.com. It's our foundation is I had we help people with I thought the most important part is when you went to treatment. Obviously you go to treatment for 30 or 60 days, and when you get out, where you go and where you were going to go. Most of the people that go into treatment lose everything. They don't have their families, they don't have any money, they don't have anything. So I thought, what our foundation does, we pay for people that come out of treatment, and we pay for them 6 to 8 weeks to go live in a sober house to get their life back on track. And I thought that was, for me, that was a big part. I always came back and played hockey, and it kind of it was tough because if you go back into those same situations that you left in, most likely you're not gonna move forward. And I think that's, for me, it's very important that we help people that get out of treatment and help them find jobs and get them on the right foot, and hopefully we can help them that way.
How important has your family support been during your journey? I know your sister is the CEO of Power Forward as well.
Yeah, my sister Kelly Wilson, she's been big, she's been huge, and it's just everybody. It's a feeling like this. Everybody knows nowadays what addiction, how everybody has someone they know that's affected with this disease, and it's not easy. It's a feeling like your family pays a big price. My family paid a big price. All the people that my kids, everybody that was involved around me, kind of gets hurt a little bit, but it's important to have a great family. I have a great family. I'm so lucky that way, and I have a lot of support and people. A lot of my friends I played hockey with. Everybody is always there for you. And that's one thing that I really cherish my friendships now. Because when you get stuck in addiction, it's your friendships. It's hard because you're out there alone. You're not the person that you were, and it's nice to be back to where I was and have all those friendships back. And I have a great family. I'm lucky.
So, Kevin, I guess because you went through that, do you savor and honor like going into the Hockey Hall of Fame in the United States even more?
Yeah, I do, Judd, because I didn't know. Who knows what's going to happen with that stuff? I know if I didn't get stuck in addiction, I know I knew what I could have become and what I should have could have been. But she would have, should have, could have, right? That's a lot of people have that, and I can just live today. And I'm very happy I got selected to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame. I'm privileged to be chosen, and I just take one day at a time, and that's how I live today. And life's good, and like I said, I was honored to get called to get into the Hall of Fame.
And Kevin, you're a scout for the Penguins now. How important is it to you to remain connected to the organization?
Yeah, it's good. It's good, Adam, because that's Pittsburgh's a team that I played on. I have my most success, and that's a team I really want to see win. It's nice that I have a job that I really want to see the team that I work for. It's not just about the job. It's about I want to see that team do well. I want to see them win, and I want to see them guys compete and hopefully get a chance to win Stanley Cups. And there's so many ups and downs in this game, but very privileged to work for that team that I really want to see win. That's quite a thing.
Kevin, last thing of all the things that you were able to, or last thing for me, of all the things that you were able to accomplish in the National Hockey League when you were playing, and this is something that Brick and Beersy had mentioned when we were chatting here over the last couple of days. I think you might be the only guy to have 50 goals and 250 penalty minutes in a season. Where does that sit for you?
Oh God, I had a big mouth, and I got out there. I got out there at all the wrong times. I think a lot of those back in the day, you guys know, you got in a fight at the end of the game. You got a 5-minute fight. You got a 10-minute misconduct, and you can pick up 25 minutes pretty quick, right? So I was out there a lot of those games. We used to play a lot of back-to-back games, and there used to be those 5-on-5 skirmishes that the ref just took every number and threw everybody out. So it was kind of like one of those things that happened a lot. But it was, yeah, I was scoring a lot. I was sitting a lot. That was an interesting year. I was in that box probably a little too much. The coaches didn't want me in there that much, but it was. But that's how I played. I kind of played that game. I had to be into the game. I was a very high-strung type of player, so it was. I played on a lot of emotion. I did some things that probably weren't great, but I think it turned out I needed to play that way.
Well, as a kid, I loved you because you're from Mass. You're one of us, but I hated you because you beat my Bruins. But that's how it goes sometimes. But I do want to congratulate you again. What an honor being inducted to the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. By the way, in Pittsburgh too, right? Which is kind of cool, right? Yeah, to be able to do that. So, congratulations on all your success. Respect everything you're doing with Power Forward, and thanks for coming on with us. Really appreciate it, Kevin.
I appreciate it, guys. You guys keep up the great work too. I listen to you guys every night. Keep up the good work. You guys do a great job.
Thanks, Artie. Congrats to you.